Hi, this is Matt from Dustin Acres, and you're listening to Huell's Gold.
Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Huell's Gold, number 59. I'm Chris.
I'm Allan.
And I really want us to stay centered. We should have done some yoga before this episode.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the pose right now.
Okay.
The pose.
Yeah. The yoga pose. Well, center of California, I got to tell you, we've been looking forward to this one for a while, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
For a number of reasons. Like, this is one of those ones that we watched numerous times separately, but
this one sticks out.
Yeah. Because it
Yeah.
has a Bakersfield tie-in, and we're always kind of biased about that. So,
Do you want to lead with that, or what are you thinking?
well, I don't know, because the little connection does happen at the beginning, because the cold open is just Huell driving. And if you're from the southern San Joaquin Valley, or the Central Valley too, you can definitely tell what freeway this is. At least I could.
Oh, yeah. Just that. Okay, you have it paused right now.
Yeah.
That bush,
The Oleanders.
the oleanders,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
The center divider is all
I like how I know
oleander.
what it looks. I don't know the name. Just so used to it.
And then there's the eucalyptus trees on the other side. That you could tell he's near the Union Avenue exit right there.
That's funny.
This is California Highway 99. And the lighting is horrible. I don't know. Well, actually, we do kind of know what was going on. That's what makes this opening so special, is that this was kind of the first thing that we were able to, like, dig deep into. And I don't know what prompted it. I think it's just I liked this episode, and I thought, I wonder if I could find out who these musicians are that played that theme this week that you already heard. And you've heard us talk about it. It's Richard Chon, but we got the name of the other, the guitar player. What was his name?
It is Eddie Elderly. Elderly? How would you pronounce that?
I would say Ederly.
Ooh, okay. So you French it up a little bit.
Well, yeah, because someone in my family has a name that's almost the same.
Why
at
did
the
you
end.
set me up for failure?
Just,
Yeah.
you know his last name too. I don't know why.
It's just Ed.
Yeah, it is Ed. Anyway, I emailed Richard like a year ago, and because I found his band's website. You refound it because I had lost it.
Yeah, what's the Saddlecats?
Yeah, they're like a bluegrass band
Looks like it, yeah.
up in Northern California. And I emailed him and I just said, "Hey, are you the Richard Chon who was on California's Gold a couple times?" And off to the races we went, talking about all kinds of stuff of the two different times he was on it. You heard us talk about him on the Weed Patch episode, and then this one. And then it kind of kept snowballing from there into what has come like this legendary story between us and a couple other people, because, you know, we keep this pretty PG rated show. G rated at most.
Yeah.
Because that's how California's Gold was.
But, oh, by the way, before we get there, they categorize themselves as a Western swing band.
Oh, okay. All right. What are they called again?
The Saddlecats.
All right. We'll throw that link up because I want old Ricky to get all the links.
Ricky.
So
like it.
The story goes, we never knew if we'd actually say this on the air, but who cares? Whatever.
Got nothing to lose.
I'm gonna edit it a bit Ed edited it. So Richard, in this episode, Richard and Eddie are in the back seat of the Explorer playing guitar and fiddle, like live in the back seat. It's
Recklessly.
It's very recklessly. They don't have their seatbelts on. No one does in the whole car, it seems like. And Huell is just blasting down 99, which is not the safest of highways, according to some statistics I saw on an episode of Modern Marvels recently, actually. So I asked Richard, how did that happen? And he said that someone got his phone number at the Weed Patch taping and called him and said, hey, we really liked your playing. Would you want to play for the theme? He said, sure. Here's where we'll meet you. Kind of like at a truck stop somewhere near on the 99. Huell will show up at this time. They'll do the shots, and they'll drop you right back off. No big deal. Richard says he waited for a good chunk of time. I think it was 30, 45 minutes. And this was 1995, so cell phones, very rare at that time. No one had them in this group of people anyway. I guess there was a mix-up as to where they were going to meet or something like that. Huell finally shows up. And Richard, which I've never met him, I don't know, but this is what he said. He said he kind of jokingly, said to Huell, hey, man, you're pretty late. And Huell looked at him and just said...
Well, did he call it 1,000-watt grin?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the phrase?
I forgot about that. The 1,000-watt grin, and just said, F you guys. I'm just kidding. Get in the car. But in the email, he spelled it out.
Yeah.
And to see that word, or that phrase, in quotes, said by Huell,
It's awesome. It's so good.
it humanized him to no end to us. And then, yeah, they did this shot. They dropped him back off, and that was the end for this day. Story continues. Richard gets another call from the producers a while later, and they said they really liked the rendition that you just heard at the beginning in the car. Can you guys go into a studio and record like a clean version? Richard says, sure. Him and Eddie get in the studio, bang it out. And that is the theme that will pretty soon become the version for the rest of the show, forever.
Which is a cool Bakersfield.
Dude, I
what do
could
you wanna
not
call
believe
that?
it.
In the Huell-Hauser universe.
It is the ultimate coinky-dink.
Quinkadink, yeah.
So that really got us super excited for this episode for so many reasons. And now we can always say that Bakersfield is forever real deal California's gold. Like, there's no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Well, we can also talk about Eddie. I bet you his congregation has no idea.
No.
This guy is a living legend.
I know. I could never find contact information for him, but I remember kind of sort of finding something which you refound again today. What was it? What are they called?
Well, the Branded Heart Fellowship.
Yeah.
It's also known as Cowboy Church.
Yeah.
Just that's the...
Which members of my family who would fall into that category.
I have one as well, so
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they know each other.
It seems like a pretty small congregation of people. But it's a
Did
small...
they ever do karaoke at Trout's?
Dude. Either way, Eddie plays in the worship band there from at least the
Yeah.
video that we saw.
Not the best, recording of it. I'm
No,
sure
no.
it sounds totally fine in the room. But, yeah, maybe we can message him through his YouTube channel.
Did you find one?
Yeah. Yeah, he has a
Dude.
whole playlist.
Okay,
He
I
popped
didn't.
up there.
I didn't see that when I was looking, almost a year ago. So
I'll
yeah,
have to check it out more.
yeah, we'll do that tonight. Either way, to the real meat of this episode, we're already 10 minutes in and we blabbed about Richard and everything.
Hey, that story was worth it, though.
It's so good. I've been wanting to tell that for so long. And Huell really, I think he put a lot into this episode. Didn't it feel like a really kind of well thought out
Yeah.
piece of
Well, 'cause
journalism.
We'll get even the outro is a bit different than normal outros.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the intro, he's kind of setting it up. Which I mean, he set it up before, but yeah, I basically. In short, yeah, you're right.
Speaking of setting up, Huell needs to do some setting up so you know what the heck we're even doing this week. So let's do it.
I love traveling Highway 99 because it's a highway that lets you enjoy the trip, keeps you entertained, giving you a glimpse of life in the San Joaquin Valley. You pass by cows, orchards, green fields, open spaces, vineyards. It's a constant barrage of sights and sounds and texture. And it was going north on this highway between Fresno and Madera, just south of Avenue 11, that I first saw them. There they are, off in the distance, right in the middle of the road. The two objects that sparked this entire adventure. An adventure that turned into an honest-to-goodness geography lesson. So get out your maps at home and follow along, because this is going to be fun.
So,
Dude, right into Big Boy, Little Boy.
so have you ever seen this? Like
So-
consciously you saw it?
Well, no, I mean after this.
Okay, yeah.
Right, maybe be on the lookout. But was it a few months ago? We had Jeremy, which people who listen to the show know Jeremy from Fresno. He posted a Instagram story.
That's right, yeah.
And remember, it wasn't even part of the story. It just kind of came up.
It just was there.
And we were on it.
Yeah. So basically what you're seeing is it's a palm tree and a pine tree. There's no frills about it. But it is kind of a cool thing that someone at the highway department at the time just took upon themselves. And I did some research on it. Did you?
A little bit.
Okay.
But, I mean, before we get there.
What you got?
Dude, I mean, I know there's nowhere else to park, but did where Huell parked remind you of Black Sheep?
Well, it's funny you say that because in the research I was doing, it said that there is no legal way to park to see this thing. And obviously, Huell is in like Caltrans getup with a Caltrans representative, so they were able to do this.
But just no hazards.
No.
Like just nothing.
And they're standing really close.
A U-Haul truck blazing by?
Gosh, I would if ever I broke down on the side of another 99, so scared, no matter how big the shoulder is. Anyway,
What do you got?
The palm and pine tree, really no one can really find. In the episode here, the Caltrans representative did research. No, other people have done research. No one really knows who did this or why or really even when, but their best guess is the 1920s. So we know that these trees at the time of this episode in 1995 were, around 70, 80 years old. I got some bad news for you.
Bruh. What is it?
In 2005, the pine tree blew down.
Oh, so we've just seen the palm tree.
No. In 2007, they planted a new one.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you see current pictures, the pine tree is significantly smaller than you see in this episode.
I mean, to be honest, the palm tree is so just the palm tree.
Yeah.
When you're, especially when you're in a little car driving down.
Plus, we're usually going north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, one other thing. This is a
that's 2005?
2005 it blew down. 2007 it got replaced.
Okay.
One thing that this really cements in my mind, I don't know if our Fresno brethren, whether it be Jeremy, Steven, Megan, Gina, all the people we know in Fresno, the many others, would technically agree. But doesn't this say, since this pine tree situation is north of Fresno, that Fresno is technically a Southern California city?
Okay. I'm going to say no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I think what truly delimits Northern California from Southern California is where they start selling San Francisco Giants memorabilia.
And, I mean, to your argument's credit, Fresno seems to be a pretty heavily like Bay Area team place. Our friend Steven is like he's like a blue dot in a sea of red and orange, kind of being a Dodger fan.
But I think technically you're right, though.
Yeah.
But it's one of those interesting things where I don't see them thinking they're part of Southern California, though.
True. I also...
Because most people use the grapevine as the... Yeah.
But the thing is, even the Caltrans guy said that completely discounts the concept of Central California being a viable geographical spot.
I like how Huell solved that problem.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, the spots in between the trees.
So Huell decides he does this whole thing where he starts in Southern California. He says, "So if I walk this way, now I'm in Northern California, which I'm pretty sure you have to walk that far, but that's fine." And then your boy Bob Thompson.
I didn't catch his name, so
he's like, "Yeah, but you're neglecting Central California." And Huell just kind of does like this little shimmy, like in between. Says, "Oh, well, this is Central California." Okay, so this reminded me of something though from my childhood when I was an idiot. Now I'm just a grown-up idiot, but
aren't we all?
Yeah. So, when I was on the bus going to Camp Keep, we drive between
mountains or beach.
Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in Cambria.
Yeah.
Oh, Cambria. No, it was Cambria. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, he threw me off. So we were driving through Lost Hills, and you split between the two counties. We're in Kern County, and then what's the other county? Is that Kings County?
To like the northwest
I have
of
to
us?
look it up. Hold on, let me look this up. Hold on. I gotta find that out.
This is amazing.
All right, I'm all messed up.
Okay.
Okay, no. It was San Luis Obispo County.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
that sounds right. Because
which
you're going
makes
west.
sense. But I was the kid on the bus who decided to do the splits when we were driving across the two counties.
You're acting like that's something every bus ride has, that you were the one this time. No one's ever done this before.
Okay, come on. Okay, so did the splits, both counties at once. That's what I wanted Huell to do.
Oh, man. No.
Yeah, that was on the way to our, what's KEEP stand for?
Kern Environmental Education Program.
Love it. See, like how it just trailed you just a little bit? Yeah. Okay.
All
right, that's my
It's
story.
funny you brought that up because I was just explaining to my mom, sister, and Aaron about like the limitations of the fun you can have at the Hoover Dam, because we might go there in a couple months. And I said, like, oh, it's cool, it's an engineering marvel, but really it's just a big cement wall. But then you can like be in two states at once. Like, that was one of the selling points of it to me. Like going to Four Corners would be another thing.
Just lay in the middle.
Yeah.
I have one arm in each state and one leg in each state. Laid on your face.
So stupid. Oh, man. Either way, Huell says that this is just the beginning of his journey. We need to find out where the real center of California is. And Huell really goes on a search. So let's join him.
Okay, now we've done it. Opened up the whole question of where is the exact center of California. Well, to try to find the answer, first thing we did was a little research, which involved looking at some neat old California maps. Now, this one, for example, was drawn back in 1570 by a famous Belgian mapmaker named Ortelius, and was the first known map that shows California and actually uses the word California. Here's a map from 1705, typical of the maps of the day, that showed California as an island. This persisted until 1747, when King Ferdinand of Spain issued a royal edict declaring that California was not an island. So there. And what about this one? Drawn in 1578 by J. Martinez, typical of misconceptions and fanciful renditions of where California was. This map, look at it. It shows Japan right off our coast. Here's an interesting one, pre-gold rush era, before there were any states out west. Typical of the curiosity people had about the West, people were beginning to think about coming out here. And look, this whole huge area is simply identified as Upper or New California. And this one from 1845. Now this one really gets wacky. Look at it. They've got Oregon, and then up next to it is the Missouri Territory. And then you move down to what they called Upper or New California. It's right up against New Mexico. There's Mexico down there. And then traveling way up, there's the Great Salt Lake. This one's all mixed up. This whole area is called, it's labeled, the Great Interior Basin of California, including areas where Nevada and Arizona are today. Moving on to more modern maps, we started looking for the area that at first glance would appear to be the center of the state. Then we started making phone calls, doing some research, asking the locals. And what we came up with was that the center of California is generally agreed to be somewhere in Madera County. But what we also discovered was that several towns and communities in Madera County claimed to be the center. This wasn't going to be easy, but not to be deterred, we started checking it all out. And our first stop was the pleasant little community of Oneals.
All right, so
Those weirdo maps.
lots of weird maps. I've seen lots of these from just like studying California history and stuff. But Huell seemed really into it, and obviously he's looking at the real deal one since there was like a spot of a pencil pointing like at least use the eraser end. You got to see this clip because, man, don't draw on the antique maps, guys. But Oneals, had you ever heard of this?
No.
Dude, this place seems... Well, I don't want to say this place, but definitely our first kind of interviewee, old pink shirt with a cowboy hat.
Old Stashy?
Yeah, he does not seem thrilled that Huell has pulled up in his town.
So I can see an element of that, but I also kind of like what he was saying.
Which part?
Okay, so when they were talking about how did he put it? He was mentioning to Huell how they often get passed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because people go to different cities to say, to look at other features of these other cities. And then old Pink Shirt Stash Man, he says, it's kind of nice to be picked at.
Picked at?
Yeah. Which I think he meant that it's nice to be noticed, not just passed. So,
No.
But I think you've identified attention, though.
I put instant hostility from Pink Shirt Cowboy, but he instantly changes his tune right after. Because he did say, like, we're not really wanting to, like, advertise our town. Like, this is a small town. We want to keep it that way, but, like, we're kind of glad you're here. And just instant face turn right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, this reminded me, we've talked about why people like California's Gold so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that guy embodies it right there.
Totally. Because
you did get passed up.
this is not the kind of person you would normally or really ever see on TV.
Looks like my uncle, the Civil War.
The reenactor?
Yeah.
So Pink Shirt Cowboy Hat is definitely not alone. He's got a suspender mullet guy.
Mullet man?
Yeah. And he's the first one to make what become a series of claims by all these people that their town is the center of California.
Okay. So Huell comes back with the hardest hitting question. Prove it. God. Well, no, he said, well, can you prove it? That's not a question. That's just...
I said that to a student because I'm doing my student teaching to become a teacher right now. And this kid was being kind of a smart mouth at me. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get him to continue doing his assignment. It's literally the last day before things are done. He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm smart. I said, okay, prove it. And he's like, oh, it's going to be like that?
That's so good.
Like, yeah, it's going to be like that. I want to see your work.
Love
and
it.
I slammed the desk. No, I didn't. But
well, Huell says, okay, well, prove it to me. Prove it to me that this is the center of California. And he immediately switches his tune. Like, whoa. Well, I can't really prove it. I mean,
there used to be a rock with a plaque, but they ran the road over it. It's like, if this is your town's claim to fame, or not fame, claim to we don't want fame, move the rock before the bulldozers get there.
Yeah, okay. And then Stash Man comes back and says...
He looks like Dan Severn, by the way.
Okay.
I forgot to throw that in there. He looks like Dan Severn.
So he comes back, and Huell says, well, why haven't you just try to figure this out? Okay? This doesn't seem super difficult. Mm-hmm. He says, we're a poor community. And then he says that we don't want the notoriety.
Yeah.
So what I got from that is, well, we don't want to pay for it, and even if we could, we don't want to be famous. And basically, I want to say that. Draw attention.
That's fine. Then don't make these wild claims if you can't back it up. And I think that is a testament to what the next city... Was there something else here before we go?
Yeah. We got the matriarch over here of Oneals.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to bring her up except for the little end bit, because she didn't have a lot to say. What was her thing at the end?
Oh, yeah. Well, before we get there.
What?
So the reason why this is all hearsay. It's hoopla. So,
it could be at the school. It could be on the road, yeah.
He said, it's the Rock. Crooks Mountain way over there. And then he passes the buck and tries to blame the San Jose professor. And then...
from 10 years past.
Yeah. And then at the end... Well, okay, before we get to the end. Do you remember the episode of Frasier?
Yes, already, but which one?
Where Daphne... Okay, so Niles, because she's psychic.
Yeah.
And he brings in that psychologist, the professor, to test her to see if she actually is psychic. And then right before the evidence comes out, it turns out that Daphne shares, like moon women, share this thing with one another, and really has nothing to do with being psychic. It's just they share this common heritage. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a way to bond. I think that's the center of California for Oneals.
So it's just like, this is something that we all have in common to...
Well, don't test it, because if it's not true, then...
Oh, okay, yeah. Well,
okay, and then at the end, so you're getting to your point. You said, what did she say? Huell says, he literally almost yells this in her face. We can't prove any of this. And then immediately after that, thanks for the tour, right? And he bones out. But after Huell mentions to the, we'll call it the matriarch? What do you want to call her?
Yeah.
Okay. The matriarch of Oneals.
Purple pants.
Purple pants. Mm-hmm. They're going to another spot. The old lady says, it's up to you. It won't do you any good. And Huell says, what do you mean? They look at each other, and then it cuts.
No, I think, doesn't she say, it's, because I think it's right here.
Oh, maybe she did say that. Yeah. But there's a bit at the end, we can check it out later, but they just kind of look at each other when it cuts. It's not...
At about 12:27, there's just this like weird stare down, because Huell's like leaning in like he always does, and she's kind of leaned back, and then
that's right.
The stare down. 12:28.
Yeah, he says, "What do you mean?" She says, "It's right here," and they just look at each other. That's it.
Oh, this poor lady. But Huell is kind of leading into the fact that they are going to head to another spot. And that spot is good old Northfork. I can never say this town right.
I think you say
Fork.
Norfolk.
That's what I keep almost saying, which is one of my friend's old bands from like 2004. No,
maybe that's just singed real deep.
Northfork. Huell, take us to Northfork.
Well, the good citizens of Oneals were convinced. But in the name of journalistic integrity, we had to continue our search. A search that next took us about 16 miles up County Road 200 into some beautiful country. We were headed for Northfork, a community with a lot of rich history. This used to be a lumber town. In fact, the last big lumber mill just recently closed down. It's also the location of Bass Lake, one of the most beautiful and popular lakes in our entire state. The scenery around this area is just spectacular. This is a nature lover's paradise. Now, as soon as we arrived, we were met right in the middle of downtown Northfork by a delegation of local citizens. Citizens who were extremely proud of their community and its claim to fame.
So good old North Fork.
Have you ever been driving down South Real Road here in town? And
Yeah.
the signs say, "So real."
Yeah.
Let's call this No Fork.
Okay. Yeah. I'm into that. So, North Fork, an old logging place where Bass Lake is. I've never been there. Looks pretty dang nice.
Yeah, looks cool.
I know that the Sierra foothills are like chock full of this kind of landscape, and I want to get all up in it.
Let's do it. Well,
Right
yeah.
now?
Yeah. Let's just
We're already-
abandon this.
Yeah, we're already late getting this show recorded. Let's go next weekend.
Before we do that, what do we got here? We got the squad.
The No Fork Squad. This is the biggest collection I've ever seen of California's gold costumes in a single location.
Oh yeah.
What is it? There's like 8 dudes. Well, 8 people because there's one woman in tow. Really, all you got to know is that there is one dude who throws out his actual birthday.
Okay, so if you had to pick a favorite before we get to that, who's your favorite out of this group?
Honestly, like as far as the show goes, this guy, 11/11/22.
Okay, we have the same taste because I said UPS man. Okay.
He does have all brown on, and that's specific brown. But, man, did you notice that he's just going down the line trying to get how long people live there, and this dude takes about 45 seconds to tell a life story real quick?
Yeah.
I don't think that would be super fun if you're, like, with him every day.
That's true.
His
You
wife
hear a
probably
lot of the
hears
same-
these stories a lot and rolls her eyes at him. There goes old 11/11/22
Well,
again.
Kathleen, so okay. I tell the same jokes all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I sing the same songs in the morning that play. They're just my renditions of like the news and like that music or
Yeah.
whatever. Kathleen looked at me the other day and she said, "You know, I think you should get a new wife every 10 years."
And how long have you guys been married now?
Huh?
How long have you guys been married now?
6 together.
All right,
8,
so
9. Yeah.
You're on the downward slope of this one, I guess.
Oh boy.
Whoops.
This is it.
Or
So-
Kathleen could just get some amnesia and just
Whoa.
they're all new again.
That's funny.
I don't think you should do any eternal sunshine type
I'm gonna
experiments.
try not to. Yeah.
Anyway, North Fork very much loves their claim to being the exact center of California. It's on everything. It's like the head of the Chamber of Commerce is here, and he's saying they use it on everything that they can. So they're obviously really selling this, unlike Oneals.
Old Stash Man.
Yeah.
Skibbity bum bidoo bub bub bub.
Oh man. So North Fork itself, like the city, isn't the spot. Which I kind of sensed he was ready to be like, "Ooh, it's not really in your town," like wanting to get all spicy like what he was at Oneals. But he holds back because he's going to have to hang with these fools a little longer, I think. So,
Well, did you notice the Chamber of Commerce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so did you notice when he was asking him, he said, "Oh, so where is it?" He's like, "Oh, as the crow flies,
dude,
4 miles."
I say that phrase sometimes because there's not really any other way to describe what that means.
Well, there is.
And what is that?
Okay, do you remember the Frasier episode?
Oh man, 2 in
When
one
Martin
day.
eats the pot brownie.
Oh, totally.
He says, "Why can't we just go straight and be giants for a day?"
I did not remember that line, but I do now. Holy cow.
So that's what I think of
Yeah,
as the giant walks.
as the giant walks. That's good. Oh, man. He threw me off big time on that one. Either way.
Okay, I think Huell was just concerned that he was going to have to walk the whole way.
Totally. And you can sense it in, like, his description of here we go up the hill and all this kind of jazz. Anyway, we're actually getting to the real spot now, because it might seem frivolous now with all of our techno mumbo jumbo that we can do, that this wasn't possible before, that we couldn't just, oh, bleep blah bloop, GPS, here we go. So as soon as we get to, we like head off onto this little hike. That's what, like 6 miles?
I think he said, yeah, six-ish miles southeast of town.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to latitude 38 degrees, 90 minutes, 58 seconds north, and a longitude of 119 degrees, 26 minutes, 58.29 seconds west.
Yeah.
We get there.
To get to the exact geographical center. This is not a, Chamber of Commerce claim. This is science now. We're with scientists now. A lot of them. And this has been happening for a while. I really don't know. I like that they did this. This would have never occurred to me to be so important.
Yeah.
Because obviously it started in maybe the 20s with the tree that we started with, the trees that we started with. Then in 1972, Madera County must have been like, hey, we know it's in our county. Let's prove it for sure.
Well, that was, 1972?
72.
Okay.
And then...
Okay. I want to let you... Sorry, I'm going to let you finish.
No, go ahead.
Huell just says what everyone's thinking.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be music or something. When I get here... No, it's a stake with a yellow or like a neon yellow something tied
like
around
a ribbon.
Ribbon. And it says Calcin.
Yeah.
Like it's the center of California. They can't even spell it out.
No.
Or give it a proper, I don't know, something.
Yeah, it looks like the kind of thing that you would put in your yard to make sure you don't run over the sprinklers with your lawnmower. Like, that's how insignificant this thing looks. But we're really, like, we got a huge group now. Like, we got all the dudes from Northfork, and I think we start off with just some, like, geographical surveyors. They don't really describe who this first group is. But either way, they throw to some Fresno State surveyors. Could you catch their names? They said it so quick.
Pause this real quick. Let's see. I want you to...
These are some dudes right here.
Okay. So this is Professor Jim Cross.
Okay.
He's the director of the Surveying and Engineering program at Fresno State.
Okay.
Leonard Gabrielson
All right.
is a senior in the program. He is not a professor.
So the dude on the left in the shot at 2151.
Yeah, mullet man, the stash.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So when Huell talks to these two, did you notice that Professor Cross speaks for both of them?
Yeah, totally.
This guy is super funny. Okay, because he orders food for his date. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I noticed. We didn't hear Gabriel talk.
Not at all.
And I don't... How old do you think he is?
Honestly, he could be 20 or 60. Like, it's a real crapshoot on this age right here.
Like, it could be me in 5 years going back to school to study some geography.
Yeah.
Or surveying. Well, same thing. But.
Yeah. Either way, the Fresno State contingency is on site. And
also, before we go, though, Professor Cross, did you notice that he spoke again for Leo?
Yeah.
Or Leon?
Leone? I don't know.
Leonard. I'm calling Leon.
Okay.
He says, we think that Leonard over here has identified the exact spot. But did you notice that he like kind of took credit, but then also blamed him? It's an art, I'm telling you.
Oh man. But everyone seems to agree because there's the original surveyor that we talked to, the Madera County guy, I think, these Fresno State guys, and then the U.S. Forest Service is on hand. And they said they had to redo the survey because the site got messed up because they were throwing in some telephone lines. Again, if this is an important place, don't bulldoze it. I don't get it.
But you missed one element.
I always do.
No. It was good. But what kind of technology are they using here?
Oh, dude.
Go ahead.
So it's brought up by the U.S. Geological Survey representative. And he said, we use this new GPS, newfangled stuff. What's GPS? I've never heard of GPS. It's global positioning. Blah, blah.
That poor lady, though, who's with the Forest Service?
Yeah.
She tries to talk twice, and Huell just rips the mic out of her face, like in the middle of her talking. God. And that was one time he did it. She was trying to mention what GPS was. Goes to old bro guy over here, and then he explains it.
And it's weird because obviously GPS would have really helped Huell at the beginning of this episode with Richard and Eddie. They wouldn't have got lost and needed to curse in his face. But yeah, we're looking at that moment where he just walks away is at 24:35. Man. So the U.S. Geological Survey representative, he also showed a document from the 30s that corroborated the findings, and then he showed a demonstration of how this must have been done back then, which I bet there was a little better technology than this.
Right.
But he has a cutout of California.
And then he says, well, assuming there's no, lakes or mountains.
Yeah.
And just keeps that he.
Of course, yeah. It's just a map, bro. But
and that wasn't even, to be technical. He said, it's somewhere 50 miles south of this. It wasn't like the exact spot they got there, but it's still interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, but he balances this cutout of California on the head of a pencil or pen, and it supposedly is still close to the spot that the GPS found.
True, and 11/11/22 decided. You remember, he got all in the guy's business.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing this over here? Just looking.
So it's funny because of all the technology and everything, he was pointing out, like, we got all this science going on over here, and you're just doing it with the pencil. Because that got a lot of wows and oohs and ahs and everything. And then Huell really felt kind of like the site was lacking. So he plants a flag. Now, did he have this thing with him?
I don't know.
Does he always have one with him, I wonder?
That'd be awesome.
Because it's not a full-size California flag. It's like, a 1.5 long, foot wide, something or 1.5 wide, a foot tall. And he tries to get everyone real excited.
Yeah, it's kind of like the...
Should we give out a yay or sing? And
should we yell or scream? Yay!
And then a spatter of applause. The U.S. Forest Service guy is in the back holding up his GPS tag thing.
A much better shot of this is during the outro, like the montage.
True.
Because
yeah.
they hold the flag out, and it's a lot clearer, and everyone seems a lot happier. Because Louis on the other side of the hill, looking up at him.
So, at least at this point, we seem to have found the center of California. I think that the spot that they found, it's got to be it, right? I mean, who are we
to be scientific, we would have to test it. Unless you just want to trust people.
That's not really how science works. But I'm not hiking up there with a GPS.
No, I believe it, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with it. But, man, dude, I really think that this was one of the ones that Huell... I think he had the concept, and the onion just kept peeling away, the layers of this thing, and he was having a good time putting this whole thing together.
Like I said, at the end, did you notice that he... during the outro, he summarized everything they found, which is something he hasn't done before, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, first we did this, Then we saw this. Then this happened. This happened. This happened. And here we are.
It felt like an essay, like a high school essay.
Yeah. Just like wrap it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the outro of this, like the final shot of this, is real good. But man,
Show was real good.
this is solid stuff. These kind of shows aren't going to happen all that much longer. Like
No.
we're starting to get into the.
And our show not so good, but
we're sticking in. We're going to try and stick in there. Because honestly, Allan and I are really busy guys, and
we're dads.
to burgeoning careers of sorts. So yeah, this one's late. There may be some late ones here and there. You might even have to take a break now and then. But come this summer, we're going to be hitting it hard. Slamma jamma. Boom shakalaka.
We'll do our best, though.
Yeah.
I think, we'll figure it out.
Stick with us. Either way, where are we going next week?
Dude.
Yeah.
You know where we're going.
I know exactly where we're going.
Oil Dorado.
No.
Oh.
We're not going to Oil Dorado yet. It's the home of Oil Dorado, Taft, California.
Yeah.
The Oil Dorado episode is down the line.
Yeah, it's good.
Speaking of.
I just referred to it as Oil Dorado, though.
Well, no, that's the celebration.
Because isn't it the Petroleum Queen?
Yeah.
Crown that. Oh,
Yeah. It's crazy because it's an event that happens in Taft to celebrate the history of oil production in this Kern County area. And it's a once every 5 years event. And Huell went to a couple of these, right?
Yeah, in 2005, he had the Oil Dorado road trip episode. And then in 2010, he had a California's Gold oil workers episode where he was there. It was the 2005 was the 95th anniversary of Taft as a city.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one's obviously 100 years
Yeah.
being a city.
Well, Oil Dorado is not in next week's episode. It's just Taft oil production in general, both past, present, and future.
Do you want to do a live? We can eat wherever Guy Fieri went to eat Chinese food out there.
Or we could go to our homeboy Henry's family restaurant, La Salsa.
All right.
Or we could have our friends who have strong ties to Taft and oil.
Maybe they could bring food.
That's the key.
I like it.
Yeah, we're working on getting some guests for next week. Alan's good friend, Alex, who he works in Taft right now.
Yeah.
And my good friend, Andrew, which we both know these other guys. We're all friends. He's in the oil industry. And he has some very interesting insights into the segments of next week's episode that involve oil production today. And
They're from two. They would be interesting to have together because they have two very different experiences with the Taft, probably.
totally, yeah.
Alex is in education and higher education in Taft.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew is in just
The energy business.
Just energy, yeah.
Yeah.
Raw industry.
Yeah. So we're working on the scheduling. We really hope we can make it work. We're going to try our best. And we know we're not going to be as consistent as we always have been. Stick with us. The Huelliverse is in our corner.
God.
So please. Oh, wait, one last thing. At the end of this episode is the studio recording of the final, or like the kind of ultimate version of the theme. So I'm going to play that one this week. So this is the one you're going to hear probably many more times after this, as long as you want to. So we just hope that you come along with us next week and every week
As we continue our search for
And Dick is our specialist with GPS and can explain to you how
What
this
is GPS? I don't even know what that means.